Hi, this is Ed, and I'm here in San Diego. It's Groundhog Day in the US and Constitution Day in Mexico. Our special guest today, Adriana Fuentes, the creator and the author of 4 books about strong women. What's different in 26 as opposed to 25 for you personally?
Wow, Ed. Well, first of all, lovely to talk with you and to have, this conversation. So thank you for the opportunity to talk with your audience again. And wow, definitely 2025 was a very challenging year for me. Personal because I had a few health issues regarding to perimenopause, and we talk in a few programs about this women's stage. And then I had also to face kind of the empty nest at home because my son is now in college, working as an intern in a law firm, girlfriend. So like even like I work from home, being alone almost all the time is no easy. Was no easy for me. But uh, anyway, at the end, I can tell you that I consider myself very, of course, a strong woman, resilient, and especially with a very positive mindset. So that helps me to go through different challenges, personal and professional, because of course I have like some professional challenges in 2025, but trying to make the best decision for me in a professional way, trying to understand about my future professional career. So it was a very good year at the end, but with a few challenges to face.
Very interesting. So let's talk about your professional journey. We've just got some good news, interesting news about your personal journey, your personal brand, and now let's talk about the professional journey.
As you know, I still in the corporate world since I started in here in Mexico in the automotive sector, and then the oil and gas sector, and then energy, entertainment, media, different sectors. But to be honest, since I started writing my first book, When a Strong Woman Speak, Was a Strong Woman Listen, I'm so passionate about it. I mean, I just want to, leave the corporate world and just dedicate to this purpose. I think strong woman is a purpose for me. And well, we can talk later about the nice and intelligent and resilient and strong women that I've been, meeting since I started writing my first book. So this is why, even like I still in the corporate world, I think my purpose in life definitely it's to continue with my brand, Strong Women. So yeah, I mean, now I'm working in some media or oil and gas media. I'm happy about it, but at the end, in a few years, I just want to dedicate what I loved about, this Strong Woman brand.
So thank you for allowing me to get into that situation with you, Strong Women brand, Strong Women in the workplaces. You had more than my collaboration. You worked with other people. Would you like to describe that?
Bueno, thanks. I mean, thank you. I have to say thank you very much. I enjoy so much in 2025 doing these two shows with you. Strong Woman talk about workplace challenges and Strong Woman overcoming life challenges. I mean, I think we both together work so good. And the guests that we have in two shows, different women working in different industry, different perspective about so many topics that we talk was a very I enjoy so much and I learned from them a lot. And for me, they were like very powerful conversation that resonate with women who experience definitely so many challenges at work and of course at home also.
Well, many women, many voices.
Exactly. Many women, many voices that sometimes is. I mean, especially in Latin America and here in Mexico, women, they don't want to talk and about so many topics, they just afraid to talk about many things or raise their hands and to talk about maybe is to burn out, to talk about how to deal with their personal, professional, and a life. So they're afraid to talk. And this is kind of one of the purpose about strong women. Like it is important for me to teach them to inspire them to talk. I mean, that's so important, and especially not just for, I mean, for women now, but for the next generation of women.
So I want to obviously bring up the new president of Mexico is a lady, a very, very experienced business person and politician for years. She's not afraid to talk.
Exactly. She's not afraid to talk. She's a strong woman. I mean, yeah, she's a strong woman. I mean, I think she's exactly like teaching us, to all women that definitely we can speak out, we can just, raise our hands and talk about so many topics. And she's doing a very good job in gender violence that here in Mexico, unfortunately, it is, the data is pretty high. So she's doing a lot of programs to help and support women in so many ways.
Women in Mexico and in across Latin America, I would imagine, it's cultural. They don't really want to stick out. They want to speak up, but they don't want to become an object of derision or any anger. And so that's why they're afraid to speak.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
and definitely it's cultural, it's religion also involved in all this.
cultural. Yeah.
Yeah, cultural beliefs and value, because even when my mom is pretty young, I mean she's 72 and I think, she's still young. And she didn't talk with me about so many things. I mean, when I was, teenager, especially about sex. This is why we'll talk later about my fourth book, Strong Woman, talk about sex. And exactly, and now that I'm, I talk with her very openly, and I ask her like, why you didn't tell me this, why you didn't talk with me about that, and her answer is like, because your grandmother never talked with me about this or that. So definitely it's cultural, but things are changing. I mean, when you talk with, young girls right now, I mean, they're like much more open to talk about things and to raise their hand and, they're not afraid anymore. So that's good. I mean, much work to do still, but I think we are in the right path.
So, speaking for your generation of mothers in your contemporary realm, are women your age speaking to their daughters?
Yes.
Yeah,
I won't say like all of us, or all of them, like
right.
100%. But yeah, bit by bit, we are more open to talk about many, many important topics with our kids. So this is why I'm saying it is very good. We are doing a good effort because nobody, teaches to do that. But at least we're trying to do our best. To be a parent is very difficult, but we're trying to do our best.
So, Strong Women has become a powerful brand, not just for you, but out there. And it's a movement.
Exactly. I mean, a strong woman for me, it's more than a brand. Definitely, it's a movement. It's a community of women that the idea is to help each other. I mean, that all started with my first book almost 5 years ago when A Strong Woman Speak, A Strong Woman Listen. And the idea is that, or the main objective is help women, help each other with many things. So uh, I like it because in these 5 years I've been meeting women so with different values, different beliefs, different ages, professions in Latin America, Italy, France, Spain, I mean in different countries. And this is why I'm now so sure that my purpose in life is to continue with strong women.
So in years past, you in publishing, regarding your publishing, you made a point of quoting, introducing strong women and quoting them on various topics. Books are full of them. So think back to that time when you were doing the research before those books were finally published. Was that hard for you to do that, or was it tedious, or was it like, wow, inspiring?
I mean, I have, Stephen Howard is my coach. He's been my coach since the first book. So, having his support and help was like completely the difference because, I mean, writing my first book, I didn't know how to start. Having that white page in front of me. I mean, many times I told him, like, I don't know, how I will start. But he knew that I was kind of this woman that support other women. So this is why we went with this first title about Strong Woman Speak, Strong Woman Listen. And since then, of course, with his coaching and support, and had changing my mindset to, okay, now I want to be a writer. Of course, I want to be a writer. I was like feeling so powerful, just the idea to, to write my first book, and just things start going so easy and meeting different women. In that time, I was working in some energy company, meeting many women in the public and private sector. So yeah, I mean, I just I was enjoying what I was living on that time and how I felt publishing my first book. Then I remember I told Stephen, okay, now I want to write the second one. And after the second one, I want to write the third one. And I didn't want it to stop. I just wanted to continue writing.
So it was energizing for you
Yeah,
rather
very.
than not a burden.
No, not at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm asleep. I mean, I'm not an early morning person. And I remember like Saturdays or Sunday, I was just waking up early in the morning, having my coffee, and start writing. That never happened to me. So yeah, I was like, was a pleasure for me to discover that to myself, about myself. You know what? One thing is like, I mean, I read a lot. I love to read. It's another passion that I have. I don't watch too much TV because I prefer to read. And when I was writing, I decided to write every day. It's kind of an habit, like write a little bit every day. And then, of course, your brain will be used to, and then the brain will ask you for more, writing. And some of the things that I wrote, I didn't like it. I was like, oh my God, why I wrote this. And of course, editing all the time also helped me to write in different places, not just on, like at home. Sometimes when I wanted to write something more deep or more inspirational, I just took, my notebook and went to a park or to the forest, and being in contact with nature definitely helped me to write, I think, like more nice things. And interviewing many women. I just, since the first book, I start making so many interviews, like casual interviews to different women, asking like, how do you think you can help another woman? How do you, leave the parent? How do you deal with your kids? How do you deal with your teenager? Just asking and interviewing women helped me a lot to write my books.
If I were a woman, I'd probably talk a little bit differently than I am right now, because we're going to talk about sex. So I'm going to stop talking.
No, I just can tell you about that specific book was like a big journey for me because, of course, I wrote it with some co-author, with other ladies that have expertise in many things regarding to sex. But I mean, I interviewed like around 200 women in Latin America from different ages, different professions, and to understand how they live their women's sexuality was like so interesting because our taboos, in Mexico, in Latin America, we don't talk about that. And for me, it was exactly the right time to start talking about that. And in different interviews, I always say that this book, you can read it. Some teenager can read it because it is very educational too. One of the chapter it is or the title is Sex and Education, and I talk about how parents we can talk with our teenagers about sex. Another chapter is Sex and Communication, how important it is, that couple talk about how they communicate each other regarding to sex. Sex and menopause, sex and taboo, sex and pleasure. So I mean, I love this book. I have a lot of good opportunities to present this book in other countries. And for me, was motivated by the need to open an honest conversation about this topic that definitely is still a taboo in Latin America.
Well, I remember a critical moment when we had that TV discussion, and I found out that I had hormones.
Exactly. Yes.
I didn't even know. But in that show, I learned.
See, and this is why I decided to talk about sex and menopause because that my friends, my colleagues that they're around my age. I mean, they even them they thought like, okay, if I'm in my perimenopause or menopause, I can have sex. And I told them, no, that's not true because some specialists that, helped me to write my book, of course, you can do it and you can, enjoy sex, but in different ways. So just trying to help women to understand their body and understand their sexuality. I mean, it helps me, made me feel so proud about that this specific book. And so to be honest, this book has to be continued story. I think I need to write a second part of this book.
What would that be called? Let's have more.
You know what? That's a good question because I have here in Mexico, one of my best friend, he's a doctor. And one time when I was writing this book, he told me like, Adriana, I think you should write this book, but about male perspective about sex. Because if you think women, they have many taboos about sex, you won't believe how men we have so much more taboos about sex. And he told me like, I have so many, of course, colleagues, doctors that they can help you in the scientific way to write this book. So I don't know if write it, to be continue this book in the women perspective or male perspective. I think it could be very interesting to have this male perspective too.
Okay, so let's move on. This book has the book that we're talking about sex, important presentations. Give us an example.
Yeah, I mean, I had the opportunity to go to Miami with the support of Mexican consular in Florida. So, I mean, for me, that was like, wow, very, important because maybe you can think like, oh my God, like a Mexican consular in Florida, I don't think they will be, they won't accept or they won't be very happy, to somebody to talk about sex, and they were very open. So I went to Miami, I went to Montreal, I went 2 times to Venezuela and to 2 different events in Venezuela. I present this book. So traveling to different countries, talking about this book make me feel so proud about the book, about the women that collaborated with me in this book. And exactly. And this is the real example how women they want to listen more about these topics because they just understand that shouldn't be a taboo anymore.
Fascinating stuff. So the new book is
The new,
developing.
yeah, I'm writing. The new book is A Strong Woman in Times of Crisis. That's the title of the fifth book. And it will talk about different crises that women, we pass or we experience through life that, for example, professional, personal, financial, definitely the emptiness syndromes, the process of seeing our parents age become ill and then many cases pass away, and that happened to me when 4 years ago when my dad passed away. So it's it's interesting book, but I can tell you that it's going to be a very emotional book because it's going to be full of reflections and encourage resilience and growth. But with this book, all the crises that, I will talk in this book, it's crisis that myself passed through all of them. So, and I always start my book, especially the fourth one, and now this one, writing about myself, because I want my audience feels kind of, how can I say, feel that or connect with me first, that not just them, they pass through economical crisis or relationship crisis. I just want to be very open with them and talk about how I dealt with each crisis. And then right now I'm in the part that I start interviewing some women to talk with me about different crises. And it's nice because some of them, they told me like, oh yeah, I passed through almost all the crises, but the crisis that I just was more difficult for me was the economical or the financial. Okay, so, but at the end, each woman that I'm doing the interview with, they feel identified with this book and with each crisis. So that's good. It's been not very difficult for me to write about each crisis and talk with women about crises. We're talking about reality, how life is, and how we can just face each crisis and how we can learn about each crisis.
Life goes on.
Exactly. Life goes on.
International Women's Day is in March, isn't it?
Yeah, March 8th of March. But here in Mexico, it's incredible that since maybe 3 years ago, all the companies and they're like really doing many events to commemorate or talk about Women International Day. There are so many events to during the whole month. And I'm happy, and for me, it's an honor that this year I will organize for the Venezuelan Association here in Mexico this event regarding to the concept of the concept this year is give to gain. So the idea is I'll be the speaker, but then to invite different women from different sectors to talk about or discuss about leadership, collaboration, and collective growth. So I feel so happy, and it's an honor for me to organize this important event.
Okay, final question here. What message would you like to leave for the women who follow your work?
Be a strong woman. Be a strong woman and go for it. No matter how big or small are your goals in life or your dreams, you have to believe in yourself and believe that you can achieve anything in life. Definitely, I think that's my message. And some women, they don't believe they're strong enough to achieve their dreams and goals. But this is why Strong Woman, my brand, but my movement and my community of women, this is the purpose of this, to really encourage women to understand that they're strong enough to achieve any dreams and objectives or goals in life.
Adriana Fuentes, congratulations on being Global Business News communicator. You've done a really masterful job in communicating the core message, and it's become a movement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ed. Thank you for your time. Lovely conversations.